Hello friends, welcome back to chapter 3 today, and in this video we'll learn about exception handling. So we'll learn what is an exception, why do we need an exception in Java. Then we will learn what is the process of throwing an exception in Java, what is the process of catching an exception in Java, and how exceptions propagate in Java. So we'll learn about that as well. We'll learn about different exception types in Java, and what are the different exception types, what is the exception hierarchy in Java. We'll learn about that as well. Okay. Then we will learn how to create a custom exception in Java. Then going forward we'll learn about errors. What are errors? And if we already had exceptions, why did we need errors as well in Java? We'll learn about errors, and then we'll also learn about assertions in Java. What are assertions and why do we need? So let's get started. So an exception is unwanted situation in Java. Something that you don't want to occur. If you don't want something to occur, why are you, even if you don't want this to occur, it is just like life. Things will not go according to as you plan. Some things will obviously not go according to your plan. Okay, that is life. Similarly in Java also, you create a wonderful application, you add a lot of code in Java, but you cannot expect it to perform 100% as you expect always, or as you coded it. There will be some situations where it will misperform. It will not perform according to what you expect it to do. It will do something of its own. You may say, no, I am a very good developer, I am the champion developer, I am the best developer ever, my code always works according to what I have thought in my mind, how I have implemented. But remember, the best developers are the ones who know there will be some situations in Java where your code will not work as expected, or as you wanted it to do, or as you have written the lines. Okay, those people are the best developers. So that is why exception is introduced in Java, so that we can write additional code to handle these unwanted situations. So you have to write code to perform the task that you want, and you also have to write some extra code that if our code did not perform exactly like we wanted it to do, in that case do some extra handling mechanism. Okay, so it is for your application safety, for your code safety. That is why exceptions is introduced in Java. So as I have always told you, when you start a Java program or when you start a Java application, the two main memories that are initialized is heap and stacks. There are many stacks. Okay, heap is where your objects live, and stack is where your method calls happen. For example, method 1, method 2. So suppose you have lot of classes in your Java, and all these classes have lot of methods in Java. So one method is calling another method is calling another method. For example, you have M10. Okay, M10 is calling M9. M9 is calling M8. Similarly, it is going to M1. So one method is calling another method. Okay, in this case, if an unwanted situation, which is called exception, happens in M10 and you don't handle it correctly, it will go to M9 and it will break the normal flow. It will then go to M8, again it will break the normal flow. Similarly, it will go to M2 and M1, and after all the methods call is executed, it will kill the stack. So whatever that particular code was expected to do, it will not be able to do that. Okay, because an exception has occurred. So we need to handle, even if it is not able to do the exact work, at least it will tell the end user there is a problem, so that the end user comes to know, okay, some error has happened. Otherwise application will die, end user will not understand what is going on. But if you handle the exception, at least you can inform the user that okay, one exception has occurred due to which your expected output could not be given to you. Okay, and it is not like just like now one more thing to understand is, suppose there are many stacks. Okay, and like the example I said, M10, M9, M8. Similarly, now with the use of multi-threading, we can call methods in which will execute in different threads. Okay, so for example, M8 calls M7 of another stack, then M6, like this it goes on. Now suppose M1 executes absolutely fine, but exception occurs in M9. What will happen is exception will move off from M9 to M8, but now there are no more method calls in this stack. Now the method calls are in M7 and M6, so it will kill the stack. Okay, and the call will not be able to go to M7, so it will not even run. But if the call went to M7, processing of this stack 2, and this was stack 3, this will not get killed, because exception always travels in the upward direction of the call hierarchy. So you called M10, M10 called M9, M9 called M8. Now M8 called M7 in a different stack, so it will kill the current stack, but it will not be able to kill the another stack. So exception always kills the stack on the stack on which it occurs. So you have to handle it on the same stack. It will not kill the other stacks. Okay, so this is, you can visualize it in the form of web application. Thousands of requests come from thousands of users. So each request is run in a particular thread, and thread is equivalent to a stack. Okay? So every thread has its own stack. So if error occurs for one stack, then error is shown to that only one one particular user, the application was fine for rest of the user. For the current user, because exception occurred in their stack, they see an error message. Okay, so this is about how exceptions are propagated. It is the third point. First of all, I have explained what is propagation, and then I will explain what is catching. So let's understand propagation, catching with the help of code example as well. So in this example, we have a class, which is the name of class is irrelevant, but we have called it going example, and we have a main method. Okay, and the important thing to notice validateAge method. So this method takes the age as an input argument. If the age is less than 18 years, it throws an action. So this is how exception is framed. You need to use the new keyword. So why do we want to throw exceptions? Because particularly if we take the example of this particular exception, which is illegal argument exception. So whenever you design a method, there can be some valid arguments to that method, and not all arguments to those methods can be valid. Okay, for example, let's do one thing. Age of any human being cannot be less than 0. Okay, so if age is less than 0, this is not acceptable, because anyone who is born is of the age 0, then 1 year, 2 year, it cannot be less than 0. Okay, so I've changed this method. So, but as per Java, it is an integer. Anyone who call it can pass -1, -2, -3 to it. So that should not be allowed. Okay, so what we have done here is we have checked if the age is less than 0, we are throwing an illegal argument exception. So the caller of this method will get this exception. As I showed you, this was our method 10, and this main here is method 9. So main is calling this valid age method. So if they pass in a negative value, they will get an exception. Okay, so let's remove this first. Okay, now it's a lot more simpler code. Simply in your main method, you are calling this method, and if you pass it a valid age, the age will print, and if you pass it an invalid age, it will not. Okay, so if I execute this method, I see an output of 10. So our method executed successfully. This means we passed it a valid age. Now if we pass it -1 and we execute again, you see this line number 12 is never get called. Instead it gives exception occurred. Okay, then it tells us which type of exception occurred. There can be many types of exception. So it is telling me specifically illegal argument exception has a. Okay, and then we have used the error message also. Let's update it. It should be it must not be negative. If we execute it again, now it seems more appropriate. Since we passed -1, it is telling us no, I will not execute this method. Okay, we can check it with the help of debugger as well. So if we run the debug, the best way to learn Java is to put a debugger and see where the execution is going. So students, always, if you don't understand anything, put that code in your code editor, put debugger at all the lines, and then press F8 to see how the flow is going from one line to other. Okay, so since we are calling it with the argument -1, it went to line number 10, it went to line number 9, it checked since age is less than 0, it will throw an exception at line number 10, and after throwing an exception, it is not even reaching line number 12. Whereas if you give it a positive value, for example, if you give it 1, now if you see what will happen is, first of all, it is checking whether it is less than 0 or not, then it is going to line number 12 and it is printing. So this is what exception signifies. Unwanted situation in illegal argument is one of the examples. We will show you more examples. We'll try to explain you more and more. Okay, so important thing to understand here is how do you throw an exception? When you throw an exception, you have to create an object of exception class, which we have done here by calling the constructor of illegal argument. What you can also do is hold control and click on this. So you will reach the source code of Java. Then if you check here you are inside this, we are using Java 11. So you are inside this Java 11 library, and there we have this class illegal argument. Here you can also read the description. Since means it was added in Java version 1. It's a very old class. Okay, so you can read the description, and these green color lines are the descriptions of all the methods. But what you need to understand is that it signifies a particular situation, which is that the user has given wrong input, okay, or the input is not acceptable. Okay, so now suppose I don't want my code to break and I want to inform my end user, although we are printing an error message, but I want my code to still be running, performing some other acts. So suppose I had some other actions, which was, I want to do some other things. I want to call another method. Here I'm simply printing some other act. So irrespective of whether exception occurs in validateAge method or not, I should be able to perform my other actions. So since right now we are passing a valid age, and if we execute it, we can see other actions has been called. But if I give it -1, now we can see exception has occurred, but my application has also died. Now it cannot do anything because exception occurred. But I don't want to design my application in such a way. Even if exception occurs, my application should not die. It should still interact with the user. It should tell it some problem occurred, but application is still alive. Okay, So I want other actions to execute even if there is an exception in validateAge. For example, I showed you this example where if exception occurs at you say method 10, normal behavior of method 9 will also not happen, method 8 will not happen, method 2 will not happen, method 1 will not happen, the stack will die. That I want to make my application more stable. Okay, so it should not die. It should inform, okay, some problem occurred. Maybe in case of illegal argument exception, it occurred because of you. You gave a wrong in. So don't give a wrong input next time. But I don't want my application to die. So what I can do is, suppose I decide to do it at method 8. So exception occurred at method 10. It started going up. It went to method 9. Then when it reached method 8, if I handle the exception here, if I handle this exception properly, it will not go any further. It will not go any further. The stack will not die. It will still be alive, and we can still execute method 2. We can still execute method 1. Why? Because in the midway, when it started, exception started from method 10, it killed the normal behavior of method 9. When it reached method 8, we handled it there. Okay, so suppose there is a overspeeding car in a highway. It is rushing very fast. It is hitting every car in the way. No one is feeling safe on the highway. But suddenly a police officer comes and he stops that car. Okay, and he arrests the driver. Now going further, the cars which are further will feel safe. We are absolutely safe. We are driving normally. So this is what we do by handling that. Okay, so let's see how do we handle an exception in Java. For handling exception in Java, try catch block is used. Right? We write try. We open and close the brackets. So whatever is written in try is kind of signifies the code where an exception might occur. There is a chance of occurring an exception. Okay, and then we write catch. And in catch, we can catch a particular exception or many exceptions that occur. First, we will see how we catch a particular exception. So we know that validateAge can throw illegal argument exception. So we will catch validateAge here exception. And what we will do after catching, we can maybe print exception, and maybe we can add some details about the exception. So we can say e.getMessage so that we know which exception did we catch. Okay, so earlier we could see that this other actions were not printed when we used to send -1, which is a negative argument, which is an unexpected argument to the input method. Now what happens, let's see. So I'm using the debugger now. If I click on debug, first of all it goes to our main method. Okay. Now it checks whether the age is less than 0 or not. Since it is less than 0, it will throw an exception. So now after throwing an exception, earlier nothing was printed, no execution was happened, application used to die. But now let's see what happens. Let's breakpoint the catch block as well. Okay. Now you see it goes in the catch block. So your application is still alive. It's showing connected. Okay. It has not died away. So application is still active even when an action occurred. Earlier, when we did not handle the exception or we did not catch the exception, application used to die. Now application is not dying. It is still alive because we handled the exception correctly. How did we handle the exception? By using the catch block. Okay. So in the catch block, we are printing a message, caught the exception. So you can see that it printed the R string, caught the exception, and then it printed the message also, which we passed. Age must not be negative. So even when action occurred, we are still able to execute other actions or other things that we want to do with our application. So this is, even when unwanted situation has occurred, we are still able to execute our application. Our code is still able to. So this is why exception is used. You have to plan, anticipate. When you watch cricket on TV, the captain places fielders as particular positions, anticipating that the batsman will hit the ball in this direction. So you have to anticipate. Okay. Even in football, you have to place your players accordingly how the opposition will pass the ball so that you can take the ball from them. You have to anticipate. Okay. So in Java also, you have to anticipate this problem can occur. And based on that anticipation, you have to place your handling mechanism so that if something wrong happens, my application will handle it. It will not die. It will be a good application. Everyone will love using my app. Okay. So you see, still we are able to print the other things method, even when an exception occurred. Earlier, when we did not catch this exception, we were not able to print other things, other functions. So this is, the very basics of exception. Why do we need exceptions? How do we throw exceptions? And how do we catch exceptions? And, we saw that from the main exception was generated in this validateAge method, but it propagated to the main method. So it will propagate from one method to other method to other method based on the calling hierarchy, and it will never cross its stack. Suppose after many methods you call another method in a different stack, it will not go there. It has the power to kill the current stack only. So our application is dying because here we're using one only single threaded application right now. When we learn multi-threading, we will see multiple threads. But here it is a single threaded application, so it is killing the current thread. So it is also killing our application. Okay. So we learned about throwing, catching, and propagation of actions in Java.